Hi, everybody. We are here for another political talk with Charlotte. This is our normal day for doing political talk with Charlotte, even though many of you have probably seen my videos um, on Facebook multiple times this week. I went through a test run of some software that I'm about to use. We are here Thursday, and I hope that you will invite all of your friends to join us. Go out and get your popcorn and your Kool-Aid. Sit back and let's get started talking about things that are important in our community. I have as my guest someone that I have grown to respect immensely. His name is Jennings Bernard. He was oh my gosh, I think we made a mistake during this last election. I'm not in the city, so I could not impact what you guys voted for, but he ran to be the mayor of this great city. And I'm not sure that the current mayor is his favorite, but I'm going to let him tell you all about it. And next time, should he run again, you guys may need to consider voting for him. So let's go ahead and get this show started. I see some people are joining us right now, and I will check with you guys and find out what your comments are. Wow, we have a number of people. Jenny, you are very, very popular. Let's get this show started. And we are back. Guys, this weekend is a weekend that we remember the veterans who served us in the United States of America. And I think it's important that we acknowledge them. Our guest is a veteran. Our guest served in a very distinguished area of our military. So let's bring Jennings Bernard in. Hi, Jennings. How are you?
I'm great, Charlotte. Thank you for inviting me and having me on your show.
It is a pleasure having you on the show. We have been planning this for quite some time, so you guys are in for a good show. We've got some favorites that are here, and they're sending a shout out to you. Hi.
God bless them all. I appreciate it.
And another hi. So anyway, Jennings, listen, I've been following you. You have your own show. And would you tell our guests when your show airs?
Well, it airs every day, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. The show is called Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring the reality and the information to the people so they won't be locked out. We're trying to tell them where the politicians are doing and what they're not doing, and social media and everything else that we can enlighten the people on. That's what the show is about.
Thank you so much. And I actually looked at your Facebook page, and I think you know what's going on, not only at the local level, but at the federal level too. I mean, you are extremely astute about what's going on. So anyway, what I want to do is I wanted to get people in the mind frame of remembering this weekend.
The
about you, but I felt like saluting, but I
I
didn't
did.
serve it.
I was attempted to do it on several. I was almost there. I started to do it at the end, but hey, I've just stood back and just listened to the beautiful, beautiful song as it relates to our country and our proud. Matter of fact, I just tell the people I got chill bumps here as the music we're playing. I'm gonna just be honest with you because 6 years serving our country and we're proud to serve it in the United States Marine Corps.
Thank you so much for your service. I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook, but a friend of mine and I went to lunch, and there was this young man. Thank you for joining us. There was this young man we met who was our waiter.
Hmm.
And what he did was he got so excited. He got so excited because he found out that he wasn't going to have to pay taxes on his tips anymore. But he had served in the Navy. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you what, it is important to me to respect and honor all of those people who are willing to put their lives on the line for our community. And for that, I thank you, Jennings, Bernard.
I was proud to serve, and I tell some of the young people now back in the day when they was doing the lottery, and some of them may not remember that. I came straight out of high school, and there was a lottery, and they do it like they did doing the Powerball. Your month came up, and they had the balls that jump around, and October was my birthday month, and the fifth ball jumped up. And when the fifth ball jumped up, that means that they was going to call me in a few days. My family on the other side, mostly Marines, several of them. And I grew up being a Marine and heard them talk about it. And I said that I know they're coming to get me because it's October the 5th. So I went down and immediately joined the Marine Corps. A lot of people thought I was a little crazy. They said, "You going into the Marines out of all the branches?" I said, "Most definitely." And that's when I went in the Marines and stayed in for 6 years.
Thank you. Your show, Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil, it's a great title
Hmm.
because you do tell the truth, and the devil will be shamed as a result of hearing the truth. But I selected one of your quotes, and you said, "It's now evident that we lack leadership in Memphis, Tennessee. The FBI has taken notice and declared Memphis, Tennessee a menace to society throughout the United States. Do you recall that Memphis ranked number one as the most violent city in America? That's happening now. But you know what? I remember when Memphis ranked number one as a great city in Tennessee.
Oh
You
yeah.
go on to say, watch out, people. Something is really about to happen with this violence in the city of Memphis. Just like the school board forensic audit, the FBI is about to step in and investigate crime in Memphis, Tennessee. Thank God that real leadership is about to take place in Memphis if the FBI comes back and sets up shop in Memphis again. Thank God change is about to come to Memphis. It's about to become federal. So you need to explain that children who are committing these crimes in Memphis, that business as usual will no longer be accepted. And then you end it with amen. Would you mind elaborating on what you meant by that statement?
Oh, it's self-explanatory. If we look at the situation that we have here in Memphis, it's a chaotic Memphis. Most people don't want to accept it because they are in power. To say that this city is in chaos is to say that they're poor leaders. Leaders ought to be the ones that's supposed to lead. But I always said this: how can you lead when you've never been on the battlefield of life? You look at these individuals now. What credibility do they have as leaders? They are individuals, as I see it, that the powers that be have put money behind them to get them elected. And that's why I ran, because I had been on this battlefield through the civil rights movement. I knew Reverend James Smith, Jesse Epson, H. Ralph
I did
Jackson.
too.
Yeah, all of these guys. I sit at the feet and watch them how they maneuver through the civil rights movement and the things they did. I was 16 years old when Dr. King was assassinated, and I remember seeing my mother and my father actually crying and gathering us around because of the assassination, not only of Dr. King, but John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy. So I grew up through the struggle and the ills of this community. But down after that civil rights movement and we got things back on course, we went from 68 to where we are now. And if Dr. King was alive today, I believe he would be ashamed to see that he gave his life for what we are looking at right now in Memphis, Tennessee. So I posted that. And before I post anything, I go into prayer and get an understanding from God about what I'm about to do. And I always say, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. Oh Lord, my strength and my redeemer. I said that simply because I don't want to say something that's out of character for what God wants me to do. Every now and then, you'll get a little frustrated. My grandmother used to always say, some of these politicians and people in general are not worth what the little bird left on the land. And if you know what the little bird left on the land, that's another way of saying we got to do better than what we do. And sometimes I blame the people who put these individuals in office. It's not about a name recognition. It's about your worth. Are you able to do the job? And as we look at Paul Young now and his administration, the FBI recognized it. And they realized that Memphis, Tennessee has poor leadership in this community. I say again, how can you lead if you've never been a leader? And that's why I posted that post.
Well, I'm going to show series of little small clips very quickly. Let me bring those up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and actually, I got them from your Facebook page.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Kind of small. I can't see it. Okay.
Okay. Let's see if I can bring it up. And you can explain what is happening if most people can't see it.
Okay. Yeah. You want me to do it now?
Okay, what we're seeing now are some young people who are attacking a lady.
Mm-hmm.
I think we moved on to a. Okay, they're attacking this lady.
Okay. There. Are you there?
Hey,
I'm here.
stupid head.
And
Damn.
okay, that happened in Memphis. Could you see what was going on?
Right. I could see it. And I thought it was out of Senatobia, Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Uh,
oh,
yeah. When I looked at that clip, I said, this is madness all over. And, small town, I've been in Senatobia, Mississippi, uh, on business from town to town. Nice small town, but it has its ill as well. But it's a mentality that we're seeing with our young black youth, to me, that don't really make any sense. I used to hear my grandmother say, and I quote her a lot. She said, "You represent this family, and when you leave this house, you leave this house representing this family." And somewhere down the line, somebody forgot to tell these young men about chivalry, forgot to tell them about protecting and serving and doing what's right. To sit back and film two male jumping on a female for whatever reason, to the point that she tried to get away with one holding on and they ran into a house. I think it's appalling. I think somebody failed to tell these young men that you have to be men. These young men, as we would say sometimes, never became men. They are still boys in their mentality and their way of thinking, and just in general, not only in Memphis, but that clip shows that this is happening all over. And I am ashamed to say that it's happening mostly in our Black community.
Noni just stated that she's following you on Facebook and she follows you on X, but she's not sure if you still post on X. Do you post on X?
No, I done. I'm matter of fact, I got a gentleman coming in next week to hook me up to all of the uh, from YouTube to X and Instagram and all of that. So a lot of this you see me doing is really being done by myself, and I'm as I
Gotcha.
go along, I'm learning as I go along. And I had a gentleman to uh, put me on OBS. And from that, I am studying and learning OBS. It's just like I'm going to do the other. But tell them help is on the way on all of those different platforms.
Okay, good. I have one more page I want to show here, and I would like for you to comment on that. This is coming from the police chief in Memphis, Tennessee. Let me see if I can bring this up. Okay, I brought it up. I'm not sure I can make it larger, but what it states here is that the crime data in Memphis, Tennessee, it says 56% of people arrested in 2024 had cases dismissed. 56% of the people arrested in 2024 had cases dismissed. Do you agree with that? Is that a
Uh,
good thing?
well, let me say this. At this point, I believe nothing that's coming from the mayor's office as well as the Memphis Police Department. They gave some stats about a year or two ago that was not correct. When you're in office, you want to pad the stats, in my opinion, to keep your position and make the people think that you are doing something or you're doing a good job. So I don't believe anything that comes out of what I do believe is what's on a national level coming from the FBI at this particular time when they said that these stats were this, the FBI said, no, there's this. So you are lying to the people. And I want the people to know that they are lying to you as it relates to the stats that you're getting. And you need to learn how to follow the stats. I listen to what Memphis say, and then I go and research and find out what Memphis just said was not proper, was not correct. So you got to do your job. Study thyself to show how worthy unto God. You have to do that. You have to show yourself approved. Don't just take everything. Don't even take what I'm saying. What you do is go and research it. And I said that I'll tell the truth and shame the devil. I'm not going to tell you something or put it on my page or say to you today something that I haven't researched, something that I haven't watched and listened. I got 4 television all around this office that I'm in, and it's on every station and every talk show that comes up. I sit here sometime when I'm not working and I watch and listen, and I'm trying to learn as we go along. And that's what I want people in general, not only my people, but people in general to understand the process and understand what is happening to you. You'll find out a whole lot more when this audit, this $6 million audit, if they do it, and when they say forensic, if they go in it and look at it in a forensic perspective, you're going to find out a whole lot of people did a whole lot of things that was illegal, and but they want to cover it up and call it a contract.
You're
Well,
talking about the Memphis Shelby County school system.
bull. Yeah, yeah. And you're going to find out that, and not only that, when the FBI come in and they do their audit, I believe they're going to find some things that is illegal, and I think they're going to address those things. And I thank God for that leadership that come in. And most people say, well, why do you want the state to take over the school system? Why do you want the FBI to come in? because the leadership in Memphis have failed us. Children are dying, mothers are crying. Every time we look around, there's something that happened in this community. And I say it to them, and I say it again. If I had been elected mayor, there are certain things that I learned that you should do. First thing, if you want to take Memphis back, in the military, they told us that you always set up and secure the perimeter, meaning that you should lock down Memphis. Secondly, you should put a curfew in place. Curfew worked in 1968, April 4th, 1968, when Dr. King was a kid. They had a 30 days curfew. The military was brought in. Now, all of these things that I'm saying to you, Charlotte, now they just wrote it off. But look at what Paul Young is saying. He's saying that the military need to come in. He's saying that we need to have a curfew. Well, I was saying that in the beginning, because if it worked in 1968, and some of you listeners may not have been around at that time, it worked in 1968. If it worked then, it could work now. And you have to be very aggressive when it comes to chaotic situation. You have to fight fire with fire, and I believe that. You have to get people's attention. And now that the FBI is coming in, you're going to get their attention now. Excuse me.
You are certainly right, and I'm glad that you discussed this. I want to say, as you were talking, I thought of something that just happened this morning. The big, beautiful bill has been passed. And what that does, and I listened to many of the House members last night on the Democrat side, good people, but they want the government to be the father of everybody and to um, pay for every single thing in a person's household. And then you have on the other side the Republicans who just passed a big beautiful bill who wants to make sure that people are able to be self-sufficient, to be able to have a job. And so that bill has passed, and many of the Democrats were saying, well, if you don't pass the bill, most people won't have access to certain things that you would think that, I mean, when you and I were growing up,
Right.
we had to take care of ourselves. And what happens is many people deserve to have a good life, but they don't need the government to do it for them, because without the government doing it for them, they can do it freely and they can make decisions for themselves. When the government comes in and do for us, we are beholden to the government. And as we've seen in the past, they want to mutilate our children's body. They want to allow men to go into ladies' restroom, to be in women's sports. They want to take away the Bible. They want to take away the Word of God. They want to, and Joe Biden's administration had the FBI go and arrest Catholics. Okay. There are people who are being arrested for exercising their freedom of speech. This big, beautiful bill, and I want to bring this up and let you see it. And then I want you to elaborate a little bit on it, because I consider you more of an independent. That means you sort of are able to see things from a different perspective than me. And I want to hear your opinion about what happened. So let's hear what happened this morning.
On this vote, the yeas are 215,
Can
the
you
nays
hear
are
that?
214,
Yes.
with one answering present. The bill is passed.
There's a lot of celebration. Now, I'll tell you what, I've been studying this bill and I've been studying some of the things that are going to come out of it. And I can see nothing but good coming out of it. There's going to be some bad things to happen, but the good outweighs the bad. I see people being able to get back to work and become self-sufficient. And I'm going to say this. The very first time I ran for office, I was asked to speak at a high school. And as I was talking to the young people and trying to motivate them to be the best that they possibly can be, I put up on the chalkboard what you can expect when you just sit back and receive a check without actually helping yourself. And then one of the young men told me, I want to receive a check. But that's a mindset that has been taught. by the same token, I knew back when Bill Clinton passed the Job Reform Act, whereby people had to get off welfare during a certain time frame and to get a job. I know several people who actually went back to work and now they are still working, are independent, have a sense of pride, raise their children, and there's a difference. Tell me how you feel about this big, beautiful bill.
Well, this bill, I got to really get into it and read it, and I'm gonna definitely do that since it was passed this morning, get a better understanding. But let me say this: that I believe that the government is for the people and by the people. I believe that if we need certain aid, then the government, uh, by it being for the people and by the people, should help. But you shouldn't stay on it all your life. I have a problem with that. I have a problem when you go to affordable housing and you get there for a while. It is the way of helping you until you can get on your feet, not to stay in a public housing for 30 years, not to put a fence up around the place like it's your permanent place. It's a temporary place. So when I look at that, I go back to 1976 when I got out of the Marine Corps. That was a place called International Harvester. International Harvester paid good money. Everybody was working across the street, uh, not too far from International Harvest. There was a place called Firestone. People were working in Memphis. There was Humco. There was Bruce Lumber Company. There was the Holiday Inn. People had jobs, and there was a small amount of people that were looking for the government to take care of them because the job was plentiful and people wanted to work. The problem I have with the leadership is that when you see a Holiday Inn who was born here in Memphis decide that it would take it to Atlanta, when you look at International Harvester who worked, we was here for years, decide to go back to Chicago or Milwaukee, and I had the opportunity to go to Milwaukee or Chicago, but I chose to stay here because I love this country and this city. And I stayed here and worked my way from International Harvest to becoming a sheriff deputy for over 20 years because I was a military police. I took the skill that I had learned in the Marine Corps and put it, what do I do now? I don't want a check. The only check I want is the check that I earn. And that's my mentality. And that's the way I taught my children. You know, you succeed by getting out there doing what you need to do. Just don't sit back and want somebody else to support you. And understand this. I know there are people out there that need it, but it shouldn't be a permanent position. I was in a position once in my life that I had to make decision what I was going to do. And I pulled up my bootstrap. And people talk about, well, how can you pull up your bootstrap when you don't have the boots? Well, you go out and find you a pair of boots. You go beat the bushes. And I walked from job to job to interviewing and talking to people. And to people gave me a job. Guess where I started off when I got out of the Marine Corps? I first started at a place called Cleo Rap. And it was over on,
I
off,
remember that
yeah,
Christmas wrapping paper.
right, Christmas wrapping paper. And I was one who was picking up those boxes of wrapping paper and putting it on a pallet. And I later got on and the gentleman told me, he said, you look like you can drive a forklift. I said, well, you just show me how and I'll drive it. And I ended up going from stacking boxes to driving a forklift. And then all of a sudden they told me that International Harvester was hiring and they were really looking for a lot of veterans. I went out to International Harvester, stood in the line of almost 200 men. And all of a sudden, the applications and lady came out and called me, my name and two other names. And it's all of this people, they called Jennings Bernard. What's going on? I go inside and they said, sign this paper here. Told one gentleman you on the day shift, other one you on the evening shift, and Bernard you on the night shift. I said, okay. Sign this paper, you were hired. I'm watching. I'm wondering, what was it that made them pick mine? They did it because I was a veteran. And then
Yes.
I was wondering why Out of all of those guys, there was 3 guys, two whites and myself, that got on an international hospital. And you got to understand, I'm trying to show you how I worked step by step by step to get where I wanted. And when the International Harvester left, uh, the Lord spoke to me and said, use what you know. And what do you know? At that time, I know police work. So I went, applied at the sheriff's office, and I ended up becoming a sheriff deputy for over 20 years. I'm saying to you, you have to get up off of my saying sometime, you'll do nothing and start doing something.
Yes,
And
sir.
and I believe that until people decide that I'm not just going to sit back and let people take care of me. I want to do better. I want to teach my children not to sit back and wait on the government or anybody else to take care of you. Take care of yourself. And when you
Yes.
take care of yourself, you feel proud. I sit in this house here and I thank God for it. Because I decided to get up off of my do nothing and start doing something to make a way for myself and for my family. And for
Thank
that,
you.
I'm
Thank you
grateful.
for that. Thank you for that. And I think that's very important. And I think it's also imperative for people to understand that when you sit back and you do nothing and you depend upon the government has strings and
Mhm.
they want you to do certain things that you probably wouldn't normally do. And you end up having to do them. But before I let you go, because we're coming to the end of our show, I
Mhm.
want to mention some of the major things that are in the one big, beautiful bill that has passed the House, because it's got to go to the Senate now. And if the Senate passes the bill as is, it will go to the president's desk and be signed this weekend in time for Memorial Day. President Trump said the one big beautiful bill has passed the House of Representatives, and it was difficult for them to get it through. This is arguably the most significant piece of legislation that has ever been signed in the history of our country. President Trump tends to um, elaborate a little bit more, but that's okay. The bill
Well,
includes
people say sometimes he tend to lie, just be
well, I
honest.
wouldn't say he embellishes. The
Okay.
bill includes massive tax cuts, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax deductions when you purchase an American made vehicle. I remember those days when we had tax deductions on credit cards and on purchases of vehicles, along with the strong border security measures, pay raises for our ICE and Border Patrol agents, funding for the Golden Dome. I have questions and concerns about that. The Trump savings account for newborn babies. That's interesting. And much more. Great job, Speaker Mike Johnson. And it says the massive tax cuts for waitresses, truckers, and factory workers are finally going to be able to provide paychecks for Americans over foreign aid slush funds that are going to foreign countries. The bill's $69 billion border security surge funds 700 miles of wall and 3,000 new agents to lock down the chaos that was unleashed during the last administration. Washington's real test is whether they'll actually enforce the laws instead of letting bureaucrats water them down. So we have got to stay on them and we've got to make sure that they do the right thing for us.
Yeah, most definitely. And I will say this. America's has always been a place that they take every nationality, every race to come and make America uh, great. And I commend that. But you got to do it the right way. When you find people are coming across the border illegally and they're criminal, then yes, do your right thing to take these individuals and make them go back and come into America the right way. It seems as though, as I look at it, a lot of people are being brought into this country that are illegal, first of all, and they have a bad criminal background. We have enough situation in this uh, country that we don't need into it. And I've been in law enforcement all of my life. I believe in protecting and serving our country, but at the same time, do it the right way.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you. This has been an honor talking to you. You brought up a lot of strong nuggets of motivated ideals and suggestions to allow people to experience the greatness of this nation, because we live in the greatest nation on this earth. Everybody wants to do business with
Right.
us, and we live where it is happening.
Well, definitely, America is the spot, the place that everybody want to be. Everybody want to negotiate with America. We talk about the tariffs that the president is talking about. You know, I can see twofold on that. I can see what he means, but then again, I can see uh, what the other countries want to do. They want to come together with America so they can make their country. We got to understand who we are. We are the superpower. We are the strongest country in the world. And people look to us and we look to them because we need their allies. We need the allies to support us uh, whenever, whether we're going into battle or whether it's economic. We need them like they need us. And I thank God for you allowing me to have this opportunity.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say that if it had not been, you told me you supported me, and I do appreciate that. That meant you supported something significant. If it had not been for us getting out and voting, irrespective of how we voted on November the 5th, foreign countries would not be respecting us now, and America would not be great. And we've got some wounds that need to be healed. We've got some things we need to be correct. But right now, I think we're on the right track to getting back, say, to that era that you referred to, when International Paper, when Firestone, when those various companies were in Memphis, Tennessee. And instead of you thinking about how can I go and stand in a long line to get food stamps, to get welfare, you were working and you didn't have to depend on that. Well, that's what I'm looking forward to. And this is what this big, beautiful bill is going to allow again. Watch out. This country is going to it's going to blossom, and businesses are going to come back to America, and we're going to be great like we were before, in my
Mhm.
mind, because a lot of people say we've never been great. If I can feed my children, if I can take care of them, if I can let them outside and not worry about them getting shot or kidnapped, and I can drive somewhere and my vehicle is not stolen, I call that great every
Well,
day.
I think, in the words of Sam Cooke, a change is coming. And and
Yes.
believe that or not, understand that I'm for any change that is for the good and for the betterment of society and the people.
Thank you for all you've done in terms of being a member of this community, serving in our military, serving our sheriff department, serving in any capacity that you have, even serving now with the court system. I think you are involved as a
No,
bail bondsman.
no,
Is
it's
that
a
correct?
probation company, and I've been doing that for after I
Oh,
retired from the sheriff's office. One of the judges thought enough of me for me to become a probation company owner. So we've been doing that for 27 years. We've been helping, instead of
wow.
locking people up, now we are keeping them out of jail to make sure they go to anger management, domestic violence, make sure they get whatever the courts say on paper for me to make sure they do it. I'm doing that. And I thank God for the opportunity to serve again the people. And I could tell you some stories that some of our people and others have come through this office and we turned their life around.
Praise God for that. Sabrina says nothing can stop what is coming. So get ready for the good
Hello,
times.
Sabrina. Tell her
God
I
bless
say
you.
hello. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you so much. God bless you and appreciate you joining
And the
us
same to
today.
you.